Hello, this is Joe Sport, and here talking about NFL Week 10. And before we get into that, quick recap on Week 9. It looks like the top fantasy quarterback was Cam Newton, and the welfare quarterback wide receiver stack that I had chosen was Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, and they combined on FanDuel for 35.2 points. With the welfare stack, I like to my target is between 40 and 50 points, but I didn't get to the 40, just 5 points shy. So that wasn't a good welfare stack. Matt Ryan was cheap, but Julio Jones was expensive. So we were trying to get at least 40. Got 35. My other teams did better. I had Eli Manning stacked with ODB. I had Breeze with Watson and Cooks. I think that was my best team last week. Anyway, moving on along. Week 10. The quarterbacks that I like is Tom Brady, 113 quarterback rating, going against the Giants. The Giants are dead last in passing yards given up. So Tom Brady, we know what he's done this year and what he's capable of. He's got Edelman, and he's got Bell, and he's got Gronk, and Blunt running the ball. And yes, Lewis went down, season-ending injury, but Belichick, I'm sure, will just plug somebody else in there that he sees walking by the stadium, and they'll probably blow up the fantasy charts. Tom Brady this week against the Giants, the dead last pass defense, definitely like that. He's gonna cost some money, but if you can plug him in and fit a team with him in the Edelman stack, I like that. I'm not too crazy about the Gronk stack. It's just that he's just so much money. For him to make value, he's got to score 30-something points. If not, it's a loss. So, next quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. I know he had a horrible week last week, but let's not forget about all the other weeks that he had, especially in the beginning of the year. And he's got Devontae Adams back, another weapon. And I think that he threw the ball a lot. Devontae Adams had, I think, 12 targets, 11 targets, and Randall Cobb had another 12. I think he was just shy of 300 yards last week. But his quarterback rating is 108. Oh, and Tom Brady's quarterback rating, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, is 113. So that's out of this world. And Aaron Rodgers, still, his quarterback rating is at 108. He's going against the Lions, who have given up the 8th most passing yards. No, I'm sorry. They have given up the 8th most total offensive yards. So the Lions also, the owner of the Lions fired a coach. I forgot who it was, and there's some type of turmoil going on over there. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good game and redeem himself for the last game. Now, running backs. All right, Todd Gurley. He has a bit of a tough matchup this week going against the Bears. I mean, not horrible, but he's averaging 113 yards per game, and he's going against the Bears, who have given up the third fewest yards total offensively on average. So it's it's kind of tough. I know the Bears had some defensive changes and mix-ups this year, but they still, when you look at it on paper, they've only given up the third fewest yards. So it's going to be a tough matchup. But Gurley, he's got the highest yards per game average, and he's just on a roll. If you can plug him in, and this week there's some good value picks in the wide receiver. Also, D'Angelo Williams, next running back. Great game last week, and he's going against the Browns. And once again, the Browns are dead last against the run. So it's like every week you look at who are the Browns playing against. Okay, let's pick that running back. D'Angelo Williams, he's averaging a little over 50 yards per game, but that's because he was, for the majority of the time this year, backing up Bell. Now Bell's gone. Now Williams, he has proven that he can do it. He's got skills. So his price tag has jumped, but it's still not as high as Gurley. So I definitely like D. Williams, and if you could put D. Williams and Gurley in there, great. Another running back I like is Ingram. Mark Ingram. He's averaging 64 yards running. He also can catch the ball. The Saints, their offense has been firing on all cylinders. Their defense is another story, but their offense is more than capable. They move the ball, so that's going to give him more opportunity. And they're going against the Redskins, the fifth worst rush defense average per game. So average yards given up to the rush. So going against the Redskins, I do like the matchup. And so he's more money than D'Angelo Williams. So I don't know what I have a few lineups with all three of them. I have them mixed up. So moving on to wide receivers. Julian Edelman, again, he's averaging 10 targets a game, going against the Giants, dead last in pass defense. Then Antonio Brown. I know Ben Roethlisberger may not play. He's got something wrong with his foot. Even if he doesn't play, I think it's a good matchup. They're going against the Browns, which they're the seventh worst pass defense. And right before Ben Roethlisberger came back from injury, the backup, not Vic, I can't recall who the guy's name right now, but he came in and Brown actually had a decent game finally. With Vic in there, it was horrible. But when the other, and Vic won't play. If Ben Roethlisberger doesn't play, Vic is not going to play. It's going to be this other guy. And he will throw the ball to Antonio Brown, and he will get his points. So going against the Browns, I like that matchup. Now you got A.J. Green, 9 targets a game going against the Texans. So the Texans not looking that great right now. Offensively, they have some weapons, but defensively they're lackluster. And with Andy Dalton throwing the ball, slinging it, I think A.J. Green could be up for a nice game. Now defenses, I like the Broncos. FanDuel projection is 5 points for the Broncos. They always project low. So they're going against the Chiefs, which are the 10th worst total offensive team, yardage-wise. So they're in the bottom third of the NFL, going against the Broncos. The Broncos have been the best defense this year. Now you got the Rams, also projected to score 5 points, going against the Bears. Bears lost Matt Forte, and the Bears are dead last in yards per game. And then the Bengals, projected to score 4 points. Now they're going against the Texans, which they do have some offensive weapons, but they're still the third worst running team. So the Texans, they're kind of funnel visioned into throwing the ball, and I think what the Bengals have proven that they're a good defensive team, and I think the Bengals are gonna be able to prevent Hopkins and Nate Washington from having big games. Kickers, McManus projected to score 15 points from the Denver Broncos. And then you got John Brown from the Giants projected to score 14. And Gano from the Panthers projected to score 14. And my welfare pick, I see I'm at over 10 minutes. I want to wrap this up. My welfare quarterback, wide receiver stack of the week is not going to be Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. It's going to be Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Jackson and or Reed. So Kirk Cousins, super cheap, and Deshaun Jackson already has one game under his belt. He had 6 targets. I think he had 4 or 5 catches. It was a really tough matchup for them, but I like Kirk Cousins this week, and Reed. Reed, I think, is projected to score like 16 points, and he's still he came back from injury, obviously, and he's relatively cheap still, and so is Deshaun Jackson. So Kirk Cousins, look out, because you can put those guys in because they're cheap, and you can fill up the rest of your lineup with high value, high priced players. All right, well, good luck, and check out Fantasy Team Assist.